Hi, Falcon families. This is Mr. Alex. I apologize for not recording this live when we had the accountability meeting last night. I realized it about 20 minutes in after I finished the last slide that we forgot to press record, so that was not so great. So I will run through each of the slides now, but we did manage to record the second half of the meeting, which was the PTA, which some of you might be more interested anyway. So, anyway, I decided to just run through this one more time. So I thought this was an important quote that it would that'd be worth sharing with all of you. You know, some of you have called and said that there's problems with Zoom, that there's problems with the Google Meets, and you've got me on the phone, and you get really anxious about talking with me. You know, you think that I'm too busy. Well, I'm not too busy. My priority is your child, just like every staff member's priority is your child. So yeah, if we have to reset a password, we have to reset a login, we have to troubleshoot Zoom or Seesaw or Google Classroom or something along those lines, that's perfectly fine because that's exactly what your student needs right now to be successful. So don't feel guilty about that. I'm happy to help whenever possible. I'm not the most technologically capable educator out there, but I know some things, and I'm learning more and more. So I wanted to say thank you to the PTA for setting up the shade structures in the courtyard. I know that Sean Harris rolled up in his SUV about a week and a half ago with these packages that weighed about 200 pounds. We rolled them in on a cart, and then Marinka figured out how to mount them on the side of our courtyard in an amazing manner. So you can see that we have some students already out there working, sitting on the pads or working on tables, being able to work outside, but continue to focus on the schoolwork in this really comfortable position. So again, thanks to the PTA for providing those. I wanted to say too that our remote learners are being really successful. Like I called a bunch of parents today about their map scores and just how proud I was at their map test. I mean, I didn't know what degree of learning slide we were going to see, especially in mathematics, and there wasn't as much compared to the country. So I'm happy about that. And they're about a week and a half ahead of their in-person peers. Of course, when we're working in person, we were doing a lot of classroom culture, a lot of teaching them about the different rules and the different restrictions that all entwine in terms of going to school in the era of COVID. But we have started to get it into some learning. I mean, something that was pretty humorous was that I think I mentioned last time that one of our classes is now hand washing. It's really important to incorporate hand washing throughout the day. And we also moved the kindergarten rooms to where some of the ASD classrooms were. And we thought, well, they'll just use the first grade and third grade bathroom and the fifth grade bathroom to wash their hands. Well, that was not so easy because none of them could actually reach the sink or reach the soap or reach the paper towels. That was a big problem the first day. But Marika and I looked around the school. We found a stool. We got some bath mats so the stool doesn't slide around. So problem solved. I actually brought one of the 5-year-olds in there to try it out before we finalized it. We got the right size height stool. So that's all worked out really well, and I appreciate the flexibility. So again, it is starting to look a lot like school. We have learning targets that are posted in the front of the classroom. We have students that are writing their books like they do in kindergarten. As they're approximating writing now, you can sort of see the growth over time. And then third grade has been able to use some of the open classrooms to kind of spread out a little bit more during reading block. So it's exciting to see our teachers getting back to work, and our teachers have been working really hard, but our students are getting back into the learning. So again, it's about a week and a half gap in terms of what the remote learners were able to accomplish with the planning and pacing guide, but I'm confident our in-person learners will catch up to them pretty soon. All right, so some of you are aware that the district did put out this COVID-19 dashboard, and if you click on this link, and I shared this in Falcon Express, which some of you might have already read going up to this, and so clicking on the link shows exactly what the cases are or the confirmed cases are of COVID within the district. I mean, even though we are opening as safely as possible, we're not immune to this. And there are cases pretty much everywhere in the district right now. None at Fremont at the moment, but there are some in the Arvada West area. So you can see that currently there's 47 total active cases in the district, and 25 students or staff were able to come back. This doesn't distinguish between students and staff. It's simply the number of cases attached to a particular school community. So if you can filter by articulation area, if you want to look at Arvada West, that's the one I'm most interested in, you'll see that it updates pretty quickly. There's 2 confirmed cases at the moment, one at Arvada West and one at Drake Middle. So not not too far away. I don't know if these are staff members. I don't know if these are students, but as far as I know, they're not connected to Fremont yet. And will it happen for us? I really don't know, but it is there for anybody to look at. So I wanted to talk a little bit about enrollment trends since we have October count that's coming up. October count is what the state uses to fund schools, and you're funded on your October count day. So of course, if a student attends one day within a week before October count and one day with after October count, the school still gets that funding. So even if the student is not necessarily here on that October 1st day, Fremont would still get that funding, which we absolutely positively need. But I wanted to share with you these trends, and these trends are throughout Arvada West. You can see with Allendale in 1819. 1819 is, of course, the first year we didn't have sixth graders anymore, dropping all the way to 117 this year. Campbell had a pretty significant drop, and Fremont has had a drop too. Not as much between 1920 and 2021 as some of these other schools, but still a little bit. And I'm hoping that there's a 3-year average that the district, or not the district, but the state gives us. So instead of holding us fully accountable for this year being a strange year with some families opting out of school or doing homeschooling or just not showing up for kindergarten versus a typical year. And our 3-year average, which I block off right here, is about 206. And that would make a very significant difference with our budget. So keeping my fingers crossed, I'm advocating for more and more. I got a call from the JCAA, it's sort of the Administrators Association, that they want me to work with Stephanie Schooley on her Principal Advisory Committee. So again, I can kind of amplify the voice of Fremont, amplify the voice of small schools for this particular area. So I don't know what's going to happen at trimester. It's going to be a lot of questions about how we're going to fit students wanting to come back versus students wanting to go from here to remote. I don't anticipate a lot of families wanting to leave the school and going to remote. But again, I don't know what's happening with COVID, and I don't know what's happening with the disease mitigation. So it's a lot of unknowns. So mark your calendar for these virtual parent-teacher conferences that are coming up. It's October 14th and 15th. October 14th is the evening conferences like we've typically done. And then October the 15th, if you're an early riser, that's a student non-contact day, so a teacher can meet with you in the morning. And it's 15 minutes each, just like any other year. The teachers are going to set up a Zoom room. So then you want to log into their Zoom room 5 minutes before your student's conference. You'll be kind of stuck in the waiting room saying, please wait, the host will let you in soon. So at your appropriate time, the host will let you in because they'll finish up whatever conference was before you. You guys will talk for 15 minutes. There'll probably be somebody else in the waiting room waiting for the next conference, and it'll kind of go on and on. And the Zoom room is totally private. I'm not going to share this to the whole world out there. We're not going to post it on the website, but just be looking at the school messenger and at Falcon Express, and then possibly some communication from your child's teacher about when these conferences are. So, again, we'll just talk a little bit about the student strengths that we've seen the first 10 weeks of school or wherever long it's been, and just, some areas for growth for them. We'll talk about the assessments that they did back in, the end of August, early September, and just how they've been progressing from there. And I'll try to sit into many of those conferences myself. Again, they're on Zoom, so I can't just run from room to room, like I've done before, but I'll make my presence known. All right, so thanks to Jody Trujillo. She did set up a fundraiser night. Again, this is more of a PTA topic, and I haven't put this in Falcon Express. I usually do it about a week out before the actual fundraiser. So Fremont, with the PTA, we get 25% of your total food bill at Noodles and Company on October the 6th. I believe that's a Tuesday, and that's from 4 to 8 p.m. Noodles and Company is over by Panera at 64th and Yank. It's pretty good, and they accept carry-out orders. You can order on the app and grab it real quick. I might sit out in the patio. I might not. Usually we do like a father-son kind of thing. I bring my first grader over there. He'll eat anything, so I'm sure he'll love Noodles and Company. So it's a really, really terrific opportunity for the school to gain a little bit on these fundraisers. Typically, PTA, usually it banks about $250 to $300 on a really, really good night. So we're hoping it's kind of around there this year too. All right. So again, we have some other events on the horizon. Like I said, something that gives me a lot of anxiety, something that's an elephant in the room that's getting to be a bigger and bigger elephant as we get closer and closer to trimester. We've promised families that they are welcome back at trimester. But what do? My second grade class is really full. My first grade class is really full. I mean, we can only jam so many kids into a room before it becomes a safety and an educational hazard. So I don't entirely know what's going to happen with that. I'm raising this to the highest levels. I actually had a conversation with the interim superintendent, Christopher Shu, about 2 weeks ago, and cabinet has acknowledged that this is a priority. That they're talking a lot about it. All right, well, what's the plan here? So that's kind of on my mind. But in any event, the learning model is going to survey is going to get sent out by the district in October. So it's the survey that's pretty similar to the one that went out over the summer. I might have sent it out. The district might have sent it out. I really don't remember. But if you don't fill this one out, whatever learning model your child has opted into for this most recent trimester, they default back to it. So if you like the remote learning and you don't want to think about changing that, just don't even fill it out. The same deal with in person. If your child is enrolled in an in-person model and you're happy with it, we're not going to kick you out if you don't fill out the survey. So again, you'd only need to fill out the survey if you have an interest in changing. So again, that creates problems with budget and staffing and schedules, but that's more my problem than your problem. But I guess something to look out for is this learning model survey. So Lindsay Von Quaylen, who's our accountability chair and one of the many vice presidents of the PTA, encouraged me to put this out for a survey. So in the event of the school needing to close down again, like we did in the spring for COVID, how do we maintain that sense of community? Community is so important for the mental health of both the students and the member and teachers and everybody involved with Fremont. And like you lose that sense of community when you're not here. Like I really enjoyed seeing a lot of the remote learners show up for pictures the other day. It was fun seeing them because I really hadn't seen them at all this year, except occasionally on a class meeting or what have you. But they are an essential part of our community. So how do we stay connected? So some ideas are posted here on the slide. If you have other ideas that we could put on the survey, you're welcome to it. We might have a part on the survey where you can put in that feedback that way. So that's sort of something we're thinking about doing as well. But so how do we maintain a connection with the school if the school is only exists virtually? A difficult question. I agree. So that is pretty much my piece of the accountability. Again, we apologize for not hitting record until the 25-minute mark last night. There's a lot that goes into these meetings, and that's a pretty simple detail, but I just forgot until that point in time. But anyway, this is the gist of the meeting. If you enjoyed it, we'll continue to record these throughout since I know that people can't always make it. Okay. Thank you very much. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and thank you for tuning in.